Hi, and welcome to ThriveYouAreAlive.com. Rudy Fontaine and Kara McQuaid here to tickle your funny bone with a special guest. Tell us about it, Rudy.
So today we have Mary Spencer here, and Mary Spencer is a woman that I worked for at Phoenix Mortgage Company for reverse mortgages quite a long time ago. Ages and ages ago, before we did several other jobs since.
Age to perfection, I add.
But we want to take her all the way back because we've got Mary Spencer here because when we were talking the other day, she mentioned the transition years. And myself being in those transition years, it caught my attention, and I said, wow, I really want to hear what Mary has to say about these transition years, and what do I need to look forward to? What choices am I going to have to face off with? So I thought, I want to have you on our show because we are not alone. There are so many
us, please.
Seniors out there who are going to be making choices in their life. And I don't know, I'm 69. Kara?
62, if I must be honest.
And we won't put you on the spot, Mary Spencer, with your age.
So, good morning. Thank you for having me, Kara Rudy. I'm 68. I just turned 68. Surprising because I certainly don't feel 68.
Excellent.
In my head, I think I'm still 40, but that means my children are now older than me. So that becomes a problem.
I love that.
Yeah, subscribe to the same math.
So yes, we worked together many years ago, and prior to that, I've been in mortgage banking for 40 years. Did a little bit of this, did a little bit of that, reverse mortgages, executive management, and I just got to the point several years, probably 3 years ago, where I needed to leave the industry. I enjoyed it. There was nothing dramatic that happened. I just needed to move on. I'm healthy. I'm well. My husband's healthy and well. Our children. I need to look at something different.
Time to make a change.
I needed to make a change, and you know, it was I loved it. I think still the thing I loved about mortgage banking was when I would do a loan for a first-time home buyer. And still the most thrilling part was when those keys went across the table from the seller to the buyer, and I would fill up every time.
Aww.
Because it was so, and they were so excited. And then people were excited when they bought their second home. It's like, we did it. We got a second home.
Well, that gives me chills.
You know,
You
it gives me
really
chills
open
still.
doors, literally open doors.
I truly believed that I helped people's dreams come true. I had to make them go, we had to do all the necessary paperwork, which is correct. It's all about risk for a bank, and we've got to prove that risk. But I loved what I did. And the luster, it's not that the luster came off. I needed to do something different, something more.
But the reverse mortgage field really opened you to the bird's eye view of the aging.
Seniors who, and I hate to use the word seniors, but
This is
people
not
that
your
were
grandmother's 60
seniors.
people.
It's right. But in that program, typically people that needed the reverse mortgage were they were challenged financially to more than they ever expected.
Okay.
Their money ran out before they expected it. It's not what they wanted to do, but they didn't want to move.
Sure.
So they used their home
was a
as
good
the ability
option
to
for
get
them.
cash. And I was one of the good guys. If it wasn't the right thing for them, I'd
would
say,
tell them,
let's
yeah.
do a little home equity loan. If you're selling in a few years, see if you can borrow money from your children.
Right.
Yeah, I
But for
loved
those
that
didn't
job.
have
I loved that job when I did that.
too. It gave people a second chance.
But what was your age grouping? What
Well,
was
it's for
your age
people
range?
62 and over, but I would say the majority, probably between the ages of 74 and 78, I would guess.
Okay, so
I would remember.
little
That's in
before
my
That's
memory.
exactly how I remember it.
Yeah.
When I define it, I would say a woman, typically a woman on her own, 75 or older,
Right.
where it really worked for her because typically she was only had her Social Security.
Right, and all she could afford to pay is her real estate taxes,
Right.
which hopefully she got on the Homestead Act. to stay in the house. But so what are the options other than a reverse mortgage, Mary, if you don't want to stay in your own house?
Sell your home. Clearly, sell your home. If
And
you
then
want,
go where?
it depends on what their health is like, what their family is like. It's all the different things. But some people sell. I know 2 people that are over the age of 65 that sold their home, and they're renting an apartment. They're healthy. They're well. They have no intention of leaving there anytime soon.
And
So
with
they
no
scaled
concern
down.
They
of-
scaled down.
Of rising rent, that scares me. With no control of rising rent, and I wonder, I'd have to see the numbers after 10 years.
And Kara, tell us your background and what you do, because there's a reason I think that comes up so strongly for you, right? What's your
Well,
day job?
I am a closing agent for the real estate world.
And your husband?
Is a glutton for punishment. He is 40 years in to the real estate business, the world's remaining dinosaur, who is still salary paid. I'll give you a minute to get up off the floor after that. And he does not own his own computer. So somehow, thanks to our 32 first cousins that live within a mile radius, we managed to make a living. But anywho, yes, I do see settlements wide and far and wide from every economic situation you can imagine.
Right. So renting.
And
Tends-
renting makes me panic.
Which is not to
Except
say that
for-
that's true for everybody.
This is true. When you ask the landlord part of me about raising rent, I'm okay with that. Do you see what I'm saying? I've been conflicted for a lifetime.
Gotcha.
But it's just what rent costs these days. You're blowing my mind. That is a mortgage payment.
Okay.
Before,
So food for thought.
yeah, it's certainly food for thought.
So being a person who's going to be 69, and my husband's far senior to me, I'm at the point that you're talking about, where you're going to look at some options. You need to tune in. In other words, I would love to tune in to what the different options are for seniors and I don't mind calling myself a senior. Seniors, we are not our mothers. I'm going to live another 30 years.
This is not your grandma's.
So, no. And
I
I'm
am my mother. She was going to live forever. She was platinum blonde at 80 years
wonderful.
old,
Well,
so-
this is who we plan to be.
like Jaja.
But I am definitely at a point where I need to consider different options. So I'd love to hear more. So back to you, Mary.
So again, this is not my field. So I just to state that, but I did work with reverse mortgages, certainly seeing and meeting people that are in different communities that offer retirement community to people. When I left mortgage banking, I worked with a friend of mine, and her service is to help people downsize, declutter, pack them up, and move to their new community. So in that regard, that sweet spot seemed to be, and I'm talking about people leaving on their own, by their own choices. They're not in crisis. They're leaving because it's time to go. Is somewhere between the age of, I would say, of 78 and 82.
Is this what you call it, the independent living stage?
Most of them were going into, into independent living, and they have many choices out there. They could go to a community that's strictly independent living, and as things
Which is
change,
like an apartment, right?
yes,
Pretty much.
but
Okay.
then as things change, then they may go to someplace else that's assisted living,
Okay.
memory care. You have.
Now what
You
age am I?
have skilled care, so people would have to do some research for what their needs are, where they want to be physically, what their costs are.
Right.
So there is a free booklet out there in most of the Wawas and 7-Elevens that talk about all retirement community in the Delaware Valley.
Great to know for me. Thank you.
And they all offer some varying range of, I think, like a la carte menus, so to speak, considering health care.
Some are, but some are CCRCs, which is community care retirement communities, continuing care retirement communities. And what they do is you can go in independently, you're healthy. As you change, you go into assisted living. As you further change, you can go into skilled care. Again, they would have to do investigation as to what those costs are.
I think I've heard about this kind of thing. Am I allowed to mention? There's like, okay.
There are many in
There's
our
several.
area.
I think
Many.
Axe is one. Christ Home would be another choice.
I don't
and
know
I
if
think
that's a
like Ant's Choice. I think those are the kind of facilities.
And Maris Grove way down to
Right,
immediate
right.
area.
That you're
To cover the
considering.
Delaware Valley, there's quite a few. So people just need to do their homework.
And if anybody out there can respond to us join us at thriveyouarealive.com that has any idea of the expenses for these various stages.
Because we're going to explore all these different options I know that the reason why I know myself as a caregiver for 16 years
Right.
for a man who had a AAA aneurysm 16 years ago, right? So only 2% of the people survive. My husband has survived another 16 years.
86
God love
at
him.
present.
Going to 86 now and going forward. And I'm there to support him in every way.
Right.
But the complexity with that is I will need to make certain choices now. We own our own home. Mm-hmm. He loves nothing more than being in his own home. Mm-hmm. We've had great fortune because he was a vet. So the VA made all those home adjustments.
The ramp.
So the
He can get out his
ramp
front
that is the
door.
length of the Jersey Boardwalk to get him successfully from the driveway into the house, the chair glide up the stairs, and the walk-in shower. 3 key pieces
That you
that I
can
can just
stay.
share with everybody going forward.
Affordable. You could stay in your house.
You could stay in your house if you make some of those changes. Now, his care is such that he's almost first of all, he was an incredible athlete. So over his lifetime, each joint, each muscle has gotten worn out. You know, tennis elbow from the years of playing
need the
tennis.
bionic.
He was a runner, a long distance runner for years. I'm sure that's why he is alive to this day. So he just wore all the body parts out. When he wasn't, running around playing some sport, he was building furniture in the basement nonstop. He was keeping up the
active
entire
guy.
property. So bottom line is my husband never stood still. He never sat down. Now he is sitting still all the time and almost to the point of not being able to get out of a chair. So the complexity for the caregiver is,
How to keep
do
life
we remain
joyful.
in that home? Well, see, I'm at that's why the topic is of such great
Huge
interest to
question.
me, which is why I wanted Mary Spencer here, because I knew that she was of a similar age. We had done mortgages for people, etc. What we're going to explore all of these options because as the caregiver, it's overwhelming to sit by yourself
Right.
and figure all of this out.
Right, and-
So we hope to make your road easier, listeners.
system is
come
not.
on with us, sisters. Come on with us, brothers. We want to help make your world easier by presenting some of these options to you. So you are not alone.
Show us the way. If we're all in the same boat, people.
Right. And you've got expertise that we don't have. Email us, call us. We want to know what your situation is going forward.
Join us at thriveyouarealive.com.
The other issue, too, not issue, choice is if people don't want to leave their home, then they can have private pay, non-medical
Well, right.
assistance come in.
And that's
And
the
there's
thing.
quite a few of those agencies around.
The expense.
Well, it is private
And
pay.
what's left for the surviving spouse becomes a huge issue, especially with longevity.
Well, there have been many times, there, I'm very sorry, where people, it was more dangerous and non-conducive to health and welfare for someone to move So they
Right.
had to bring someone in because it was going to be more detrimental to make the move to a new community.
Facility.
And it was easier.
Right.
Yes, it cost.
Right.
But it was an emotional choice they made that they thought was better for their loved one.
But it's just so tragic how it leaves the other spouse depleted of assets and choices. But here's the good news. Tell us now, Mary,
Yes.
what job you landed in, you lucky duck, with the best commute on earth.
So when I was working with the woman who helped downsize people, I was on the beach summer a year ago with my kids, and as I remember distinctly looking out at the ocean and thinking, well, now why am I making my friend money when I can help my husband make money? And I made that decision very clearly. It was an easy thought. My husband is also in the real estate world.
A duh moment instead of a aha.
He's been in the real estate world for almost 30 years, just in the real estate world. And I thought, well, why not help him? So it worked out beautifully. He's been teaching me right along. And I know that I've helped. The whole idea was if I can be helpful from an administrative point and a networking piece, he can write more appraisals.
He
and
can
that
go
has
out
been
and
the
do
result.
the legwork.
Yes.
And you do the interior. So she rolls over in the morning. She's in bed. And tell them what you do at noon, if you want.
I have lunch.
Okay, never mind.
I have a great
But
lunch.
you have an option for dessert.
Well, lunch and
I
dessert,
love
but you have to keep
and we go to
moving.
the pool, so
So
Tell us some fun and great reasons to be over 60, Mary. Can you think of any?
yes.
Tell me three.
First, I'm half retired, so I can make my choices during the day to
Okay.
see kids, grandkids, do what I want because that's what I always wanted was freedom. And there are times when I worked where, as much as I loved what I didn't feel I had freedom. I was locked into, and many times it was a 60-hour a week.
So true.
And it
So
was
true.
just, and I'd be burnt out, but I had to do it.
Yes.
The job had to get done. And so I do enjoy I don't miss the pressure
Right.
of the corporate American
Right.
world. I don't miss the pressure
did
of
give you
sales.
choices
I don't miss
to be
I
where
don't
you're
miss
at
that at
now.
all. And sales is nothing but pressure, in my humble opinion.
Sure.
And you're only as good as your
for sure.
last sale.
Absolutely.
That's
It's
for sure.
brutal.
But through that all, and what's taken me through these transition years is in sales you have to network. So I have found some great networking groups with the Chamber of Commerce. I'm still very active with that and involved in committees there. I found Rotary, which I thoroughly enjoy.
So tell me about Rotary. For
Rotary-
people who don't know.
I believe she was the president, right?
I just ended my presidency for this last term, but Rotary.org is where I would send people, and it's an organization. Yes, there are many local Rotary groups, but on an international scope, they truly have been the force to help eradicate polio worldwide. And
how terrific is
people,
that?
One of the people heavily involved in Rotary is Bill Gates, because his father was involved, and he remembered his father actively being involved, and it impressed him as a child. And for every $1 I give to the foundation, he gives $2.
That's
And that's
terrific
worldwide.
news. Yeah.
So their thing, I mean, they are definitely
Excellent.
about world peace, mothers and children.
More info
it's
available on our website.
Rotary.org is where you would look.
Rotary.org. How
Easy to find.
fabulous.
And anyone can join it. Look for your local Rotary. Doesn't matter what age you are. And let's say you can't do a particular service project because of physical limitations or whatnot. There's plenty of other things you can do as a Rotarian to help and be involved. You'll meet people.
So
if you're home
volunteer work.
alone, go volunteer. Be a Rotarian.
Huge piece.
I'm on a board, a community development corp in my neighborhood, and again, I was asked to do that because I met somebody in Rotary. So when you do get out, natural connections are made, and that's as I look at myself, I think that helps keep me. You mentioned the word isolated.
Yes.
I don't feel isolated, and I don't feel invisible.
And so many people do.
Right.
You
So
are
many
in
people
the
beginning at our
5%.
ages.
Yeah.
Teach us.
So that's, what I'm so impressed with hearing is, after a lifetime of working, long hours. And I know you have many
Not
children
like she
and
didn't pay her
many
dues.
grandchildren. So it's been a very full life of all of that. So post the pressure, all that, you've been able to reinvent yourself doing several different careers, choosing the one ultimately that's right for you in that moment.
Yep.
Volunteer
moment,
work.
literally in that moment.
Fantastic
Grandbabies.
volunteer work, which is making the world a better place and giving back, and avoiding the isolation that everybody since the pandemic, everybody, let alone
you
the
didn't
seniors.
really feel the effects of COVID like the rest of us, that isolation?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Of course
Just
I did.
not as bad
because
as
it
us.
was, my husband is alive. He's well. He's healthy. Only he's a couple of years older than myself. We spend obviously many hours together. We have
Right.
the same interests. We just found camping again after 30 years.
How fun.
I'm so
it's a
stinking
blast.
jealous.
So camping is a blast.
Can't
I
get
love
my
camping.
guy
I
off
can't
the
stop thinking
couch.
about camping. But we and I push on that. I'm
Great.
like, let's go this
You're the
way.
Yeah, you're
motivator.
the
Let's go this
instigator,
way.
which
Let's
is a
do this.
beautiful thing.
And then the other thing is we have 4 children, and I have 7 grandkids, and they're nearby. And we rented a house this year for all of us to be down there, which was the first time we did that. And we were a little,
It's a lot of family
cautious,
energy to
thinking,
bring
how is
together.
this going to work? We've never
4 or
all
5
been together.
families, kids.
And it worked fine, so much so that we
Tweens.
rented a new place next year in Maryland. So we'll do it again.
Are you going to do
So
it side by
good.
side
So
or
good.
all
Big,
one
huge-
house?
big,
God
huge house.
bless.
Big, huge house.
And that's a timely statement because I just heard on national news the other day that people are already securing their places for vacation next year. So those of you who are,
slacking.
looking for a good time with each other, you got to get your game on and
Well,
secure that place.
And we are going from the sublime to the ridiculous because this place was right block off the boardwalk. Lots of things to do, pizzazz, colors, all the the boardwalk activities. And now we're going into the middle of nowhere in Maryland.
Well, what does something like that cost? Is that okay? Can you tell me what you don't remember? God, I'd love to be that.
But it's 600 feet of beach. It's a private island.
I'll take it.
Same price I paid for the beach.
Private islands are amazing.
Private island. So it's pretty
I had
incredible.
a beautiful moment on a private island with my husband, just the 2 of us. Our memories are extraordinary.
We are when we have made it to this date.
Yes.
So tell me, Rudy
I
Tootie
remember so much.
Fontaine, 3 things you love about being over 60.
I love reinvention.
Okay.
So I have always been a person who took a lot of risks with careers early in life because, and each of us is different.
I have 14 business cards. Yeah.
So we apparently are birds of a feather.
We're of a similar ilk.
Right. And it was more because I needed to stay deeply interested in what I was doing.
Interest, excellent.
More so than
Now you can indulge it.
acquire a lot of money. And that's just who I am. That is probably not right for the majority of people in the world. But we
I think
always...
that's what we're here to encourage them to do. I mean, what is the back 9 for? What is the second half for other than to fulfill ourselves and help our fellow man?
Well, I agree. That's certainly the reason we're doing this podcast,
Right.
right? And I guess one of the things that becomes clear to me, and it does come from having worked with a lot of older women in the past,
Right.
but also I had older parents that I had promised myself that the years between 70 and 80, I would choose to live my best life. Now, I've lived some really fun lives because I lived a lot of my dreams early, and that was because I could live on a dime. Went to acting school in my 20s, traveled the world a lot when I
And
was
you had an
really young, thank
accomplished
God,
guy.
because I wouldn't, unlike most seniors, I wouldn't have had that opportunity now because my husband isn't well. But we went far and wide, around the world, and I did it with friends, so I saw a lot of the globe. I wanted a big world. I'm a person who likes to be a little fish in a big pond, and some people are just the reverse. They want to be all that in a small pond. So there is no one right way, but because I was able to live a lot of my dreams early, then I raised my family, but my husband is 18 years older than me. So the complexity of that later in life, once someone isn't well, or your partner might be the same age as you, but one unfortunately is stricken in some way.
Right, health issues.
And life changes dramatically then. So I became very confined. And then of recent times, it's become urgent for me to fulfill my promise to myself to live my best life now. Because I did find when I worked with a lot of older people that as they hit their 80s, and this still may not be true of we who are new, the new older folks, right? The new older folks.
Thanks to Phil Mickelson.
I reinvented myself as a
55 is
Pilates
the new
instructor.
40.
So
Yes,
right
you
now
did.
I'm extraordinarily fit and I'm 69, so who knows? But I just knew that things can start to break by the time you're 80.
Right, take care.
And therefore, I wanted to use all my best energy now. One, to try to share some of the things I've learned relative to caregiving in particular, to save some other person out there from operating so alone as I have operated in making these choices to take care of my husband. I still am facing off with a lot of choices that have to be made. He's not capable of making those choices any longer.
Right.
So there's tremendous responsibility for another person.
Again, we're open to suggestions.
Open
Join
to all
us.
suggestions. And giving back becomes really important. And I just feel like we've all lived long enough that there's been some life lessons. We
have been
don't
blessed.
have answers, but we surely could share a couple crazy stories that would tell you what life was like in our experience.
And introduce you to people. Because again, as you're talking in the world, when I was in sales and networking, you meet a lot of people, and there are geriatric care managers out there that really would be really helpful for you to speak with. And all three that I know are fantastic people. I could throw each one of them in the air, and they'd all be, and they would listen to your story and then share and find out what is it you want. What does he want, and what's conducive, and just give you ideas.
And that's exactly so. Together,
Direction.
we're
Guide us. We
stronger.
can
Yes.
do this.
So here you are giving me
Right.
exactly what I needed to hear today,
Excellent.
because I was even sharing with my son. At the moment, for me, it's excruciating to operate solo.
Absolutely.
To make these decisions for fear that you would make a mistake. And I'm not even a fearful person, but there's a lot of information to be garnered in order to make your choices.
Yeah,
Lots
you're-
of responsibility on you.
Right.
to
So
age
I
well.
do want to hear from
Absolutely,
a
I
few
will.
experts.
Yep.
Yeah,
because
aging
So-
well.
And there's also the people that I know that do the in-home health care. There's so many agencies out there.
Excellent. See, we need guidance and direction and what to expect, to shop.
Well, and
to-
that, just to say,
Make choices.
Although it's on the it's small scale, a totally life-changing moment was when my friend Kara here suggested a wonderful person to come in to help me. So
Nice.
wonderful Susan Ziegler. When I tell you, it's life-changing. She can come in, I can have things ready, she'll give Norma lunch. Or if I want to go to the beach for a day, she'll come in, do lunch and dinner, and walk my dog. A game changer, and I am sure there are millions of women out there just like me, that when I tell you no one could help me get out of my house, I was simply trapped, and I've been trapped for years.
Freedom is
And
what you
so
experienced.
I was given freedom. And so together, we just need each other.
And there are
I'm
also
saying, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Speak
to laugh.
up a
and there are
little bit.
also several companies out there, not companies, several opportunities that help caregivers specifically. So I remember networking with about 3 or 4 of them. They set up, it's to take care of you.
And that's wonderful because I can honestly say, you know, there is my son who does that, you know, but no mother wants to put that on their son. He is so, these are young people. They're trying to live a life, keep businesses going post-COVID. They are full, you know, when I was up in New York City in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't home taking care of my mother. And I'm not saying he's home taking care of me, but I'm saying he's a wonderfully grounded person. I can run ideas by him, a listening ear. Because other than that, you're operating independently and it doesn't work.
And you're lucky to have the son to consult.
So much so because some
You know?
people don't. So
Yes,
that other
exactly.
person who's out there, be it a woman or a man, they are truly alone. And so
Absolutely.
we want to bridge that gap. We want to be a bridge over troubled waters.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Well, I dig pickleball, flat shoes, and no periods. Okay, I'm sorry. Was that inappropriate? Story of my life.
We're women.
Okay.
It's you.
So you asked, what do I love? Well,
Yes, that's what you love.
I love being able to take adventures now. You know, getting out to kayak, particularly for me who really needed healing, anything by the water.
Okay.
Anything by the water. I'll be able to walk on the water
options
soon.
to do it, but because most of us are fortunate enough, at least our crew, thanks be to Jesus, to be double dipping, right? We're both collecting Social Security, husband and wife.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful thing. Where in my household, my husband is not only collecting Social Security, he's also working.
Same
Yes.
here.
So,
Yes.
you know, we're very fortunate
Well, once
to
again,
be able
correct.
to explore and be retired. Like the people who have to work till 80, like,
It's challenging. And
But
there
at the
again,
same time, people will make choices to do that because my husband will work. He may work more limited, but
Right.
he has choices.
right. And his isn't
can
a
turn it on, turn it
physical,
off.
tremendously physical draining job. Like he's not carrying 2x4s.
No, he's not. No.
Right.
No.
If you've used your head
That's
and are
different.
more an intellectual field.
and to your point, Cara, there is more money now because there are 2 Social Security or a
Right,
husband working.
right.
So there again, those years between 70 and 80, which is not to say that in any way you're going to stop living at 80 because we're going to be 100, 105. So I plan to be
Right.
reinventing then. But at some point, you're more comfortable staying around your home.
For sure. I think ultimately.
So
and
you
in-
don't need as much money, is all I'm saying. Like my husband now doesn't need a great deal of money because he's very
What's he
content.
doing? He's not going to do it.
very safe in his home, and that's where he wants to be, even when people present him with more exciting options.
Right.
Now, he has had illness, for sure. But all I'm just saying is, you know, I guess for the rest of your life, I would say dance every day.
Yes, yes.
Dance every day.
I would agree. I would agree. And I think we go on little jaunts. The last 2 weekends ago, we went to an overnight in Westchester. No big deal.
I'm
but
so
I'd
jealous.
never really
Somewhere
been there.
new. Oh,
I've
I
never,
love
it's
that.
a lovely
Tiny on a
little town,
sidewalk
but it's an hour's
in this
drive from
historic
home. I
district.
want to enjoy. I want to
love
have a,
that.
food and a drink. So I'm going to spend the night. So, and then another time we went up to Scranton because there was a little place we wanted to see. So it doesn't take much, and even if you can't spend the night, go to a little town you've never been to, an hour's drive, maybe.
It
for many
changes
people, it's
the energy,
okay.
doesn't it? I love that.
It just takes you out. So that's why I camp now.
Love it. Good, good.
Do you have a funny camping story yet?
Yes, I do.
Oh dear.
So Memorial Day, if anybody remembers Memorial Day weekend,
Was that the
it was
torrential?
bitterly cold, torrential rains, and we went to Gettysburg. Very lovely. We hadn't been in years. And Thursday was beautiful. It was warm. Friday was great. And then Friday night it started to rain, and we had a 12 by 12 canopy plus our tent. And before we went to bed, we had to push up the canopy to get the water to roll off the canopy
it wasn't
properly.
pitched.
Oh, it was pitched. It's as best as you can do it. They
Not
had-
with the pole in the center.
it was.
Okay, and it was
So
still
it
making a
grabs
puddle.
it, and the next morning I unzipped the window. We were warm as toast in there. I unzipped and went, uh-oh. And it had all mangled itself. And we thought maybe we should go to a hotel. Maybe we should do this. He said, I'm going to the store. And I said, I am absolutely not going with you. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to make coffee. I'm going to make this thing work. And
gonna
I'm
sit
going
in
to
this
play my
puddle.
games on my computer and look around and just stay.
I paid $1,000 for this equipment.
So,
gosh darn it.
so he came back. We did go out. We got a 10 by 10 canopy, and the weekend was saved. And like within hours, we were playing shuffleboard.
Oh, fun.
So-
Yeah, right. It's a story.
Got to turn it
But
around.
see, she's
Turn it
lucky.
around.
She's got a guy that plays with her. You and I don't, Rue. And that's
well,
another
mine
issue.
did for as long as he could.
As he could.
Yeah.
And he's still, and to this day, and if people could only, so here's a
Your
little
fun story for the
interest
day?
moment for you. So one of the things that's most interesting to me, my husband is getting more and more quiet. It is true,
Yeah.
because there had been a mini stroke all the way back when he
Right,
had
recently.
the AAA aneurysm. However, so people perceive him to not be talking, and that is completely incorrect.
Okay.
So I'm here, again, to share out to the world that, let me tell you how much seniors can talk
when they
if
wanna.
somebody knows how to ask them questions and to listen and to also share their own stories.
Yeah.
Now, where this becomes critically important
Yeah.
is, okay, so now you hire caregivers to come in, or say you get through Medicare, you're now going to get 6 weeks of care, and there's going to be an OT and a PT come in, etc., right? Mm-hmm. And I knew enough as a caregiver, because I also had senior parents, to recognize that the world less and less knows how to talk to anybody and listen,
Right,
let alone
let
to
alone
seniors.
a
Let
senior.
alone to seniors.
The pads, the iPads, the phones. I
Oh,
look
Because
at my,
technology.
Everybody's got their
teenagers,
face.
Technology.
my teenage grandkids,
Right.
little grandkids. It's going to be interesting.
My husband
the art
still
of
uses
conversation,
stamps
The art
and
of
art
conversation.
writing a letter.
Correct.
Any
Correct.
kind of socialization, conflict resolution, it's very frightening for me, for my grandbaby.
So, and we hope to help them on down the road. But right now, I'm talking about the generations of people our age and older. So now you've got the PT person coming in, the OT person coming in, people who come in to help seniors. So I'm here to say to everybody, we will help you understand what it is to be an advocate for the person who is
Right.
getting the care.
Yeah, future episodes to come.
Because when that person comes in, I immediately sit with each of the professionals because they do an intake. Now, they will not in any way perceive my husband to be who my husband is unless I sit there
And tell
and have not tell them, have a three-way conversation so that I get my husband talking to me and answering questions. And the reason I know this, so in other words, they would give him far less successful health care in all 6 directions
Oh,
if I did not advocate for him,
interesting.
because they perceive him to be nearly dead.
Sure.
And the reason I know that is at the end of a session of wonderful caretakers coming in. Now, I had met with each one of them. Like their first visit, I stayed there and I three-way interacted so that they would understand much more of who Norman was. But then the social worker involved had come in and did an intake form, and she took notes, as they all do.
Sure.
When she left 6 weeks later,
Yeah.
all three of us had become fast friends. When she read her opening notes, she said, Oh, I had him all wrong.
Had him pegged wrong.
Now, she was a wonderfully compassionate social
Talented.
worker. We loved her over time. But so now when Susan Ziegler comes in, the caretaker that you recommended, she knows how to talk to a senior. So I'll come home and Norman will say, oh, we had a great conversation. He won't tell me anything about it. He's not interested
there
in
goes a
using his
burden.
voice again and recounting, but he'll say, oh, we had a great conversation. I went home the other day and I recorded him because I thought people should understand
nice. That's
who, right. Well, first of all, it's a treasure
It is a
because
treasure.
here's the other shocker.
Yeah.
I was looking at some old acting notes, and romance figures large. Romance is in everybody's life, or we want it to be, desperately. Now, Norman, I proceeded to ask him questions, and you would see, if you were paying attention, that the person is totally sexually engaged. So I shocked somebody the other day by telling them, he is 86 with an incredible will to live. And sex figures largely in that brain of his. Whether
is
he's performing,
mind-blowing for
whether
a lot
he's
of women.
performing it or not,
But I don't think so because
Maybe I just don't know.
I
I thought
think
people
it's-
don't know.
people don't know,
And
I
so that's
believe
where
it's
we're here to
absolutely true.
share. I tell you, you cannot imagine how endearing this conversation was that I caught on tape. He recounted, I asked him for our 3 most romantic, intimate moments around the world.
Oh, nice.
One which is totally X-rated.
As well it should be.
And he so we're not sharing that one on. And and he came to life and he smiled and he sighed and tears came to his eyes.
No.
And people need to understand that there's very real people living in there.
Sure.
Even this man who was 16 years past an event that only 2% lived through.
The other thing we haven't talked about, I think, for people, excuse me, is if you're able to do it, and even if you can do it minimally, is exercise.
Exercise
I think
is key.
exercise is
special
just
on-
so
We
critical.
have to get the blood
Endorphins
moving.
coming up.
You have to get the blood moving.
Keep
And the
it
other
moving.
piece, now maybe it's easy enough to say it from somebody who's 68 compared to somebody who's 88, let's say, is
Right.
to stay sharp on computers because it's the
Right.
way of the world. You've got to learn new, you've got to get the new phone, you've got to get the iPad, you've got to learn it
Mm-hmm.
because it's the way people communicate.
And to keep yourself sharp, and yes, to
It's
be
the
able
way
to
people communicate. You don't want to be, I don't know how to do that.
Right.
You've got to learn, and
You have
it's
to
not
stay in the game.
difficult. You
Right.
have to
People
stay
don't.
in the
That's
game.
part of the problem. People don't want to learn new tricks. That's my man's biggest issue, and I think it really affects his.
Well, there's probably fear,
level
embarrassment.
of inspiration. Sure,
yeah.
sure. He doesn't want to learn new tricks.
He thinks he's going to fail. And you can't fail once you learn how to use any of these things.
Right.
Right.
You can't fail. You're
There's
not going to
only
break it.
One way to do the equation, yeah, or whatever.
That seems like that should be a really good field for someone is to be an IT roving person
So
for
true.
senior communities.
So true.
Or senior households. Just coming in and doing the basics of here's how the phone works.
I love that commercial.
I think that's
Today,
It is. And Norman's brother, who was a real techie,
yeah.
he would go to various community centers and do that with a computer.
It's so clever.
We need to find more of those classes.
today we'll open a PDF. I love that commercial. Isn't that a scream?
Right.
We can't help you from becoming your parents.
So today, we hope we offered you a vision for your future, whether that's where you might live when it's time to move on down the road, or how you just might reinvent yourself. If you have the courage to do it, if you want a little boost, we're your cheerleaders. We're here for you to help.
Inspiration cheerleaders.
Right, to help you
Rah,
in
rah,
any
rah.
way. So we're here to encourage you. We seek to include all of you in our collective journey to aging well with positivity. We're here to share your laughter, your tears, your stories. If you feel alone, let us remind you we're here to face the storm with you. And like all things in life, this too shall pass. If you live on Desperation Island, we'll be your bridge. If you've found a better way, a higher calling, let us know. We'd love to pass it along. What is it you have to share? What are your talents, your gifts to help make this world a better place? We encourage your feedback. Tell us what's on your mind, what's in your heart. What can we share together? It's our lives we're talking about here at ThriveYouAreAlive.com. So this is Rudy Fontaine.
Karen McQuaid,
Mary Spencer,
our guest of the week.
and I thank you and am honored for the opportunity. It's been fun. Thank
We
you.
love having
Thanks
you.
for the
Thank you.
education,
Thank you.
girlfriend.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Your inspiration cheerleaders are signing off till next week